Hi, good morning. Well, welcome to the ZP Developer Zone webcast or webinar that we do every Thursday at 8 a.m. I'm just going to turn the volume up and make sure that we're getting some sound. So as you know, we do this webinar every week. Hi, good morning. Yeah, there we are. Well, welcome to So we do this webinar every week. Today's the 21st of January 2021. We do this webinar exclusively for our ZP members. I'll just give everyone a few minutes to join up. Oh, there we go. There's Hasim. Cool. All right. So Hasim is here, which is always a good sign. Hi, Hasim. So I'm going to give you a quick, not quick. I'll give you our webinar in a minute. There will be some update news. I'm going to talk about the ZP Academy and the ZP Developer Zone. I'm going to do a technical section actually on herbicides this week because I thought it was interesting because I think that these herbicides are particularly interesting to people in Southeast Asia, including Indonesia. And so let's get on with the webinar. So every week we do talk about the Developer Zone. So you are members of the ZP Developer Zone. We do a technical section, and then we also do a summary at the end. So I do show this slide every week. Now we're really expanding our sort of what the benefits of the ZP Developer Zone actually are now. So I'll sort of touch upon that. So last week I showed this slide and said this is coming very soon, and it is coming. We've been working on it all week. And what I was saying was, look, there's going to be a members section of this, which is for members only, and you guys are members, so you'll be able to log in and use this. I even saw that Hasim actually put on the Discord server a bit of a link to this. So he's letting you know, look, we're starting to get ready to really kind of launch on this now. So two of the benefits of the ZP Developer Zone that are new for 2021 are we're launching the ZP Academy. So a lot of you have attended the webinars, and every week we try to give us some technical information regarding electrochemical biosensors. So now we're launching the ZP Academy. So there's a link here, which is basically academy.zimmerpeacock.com. So I'd like you to take a look at the Academy, and we're going to grow the material on the Academy with time. And then there's a new website that it's launched. I would say that we're in sort of beta form at the moment. We want to improve it, but we do have the Developer Zone website. So we got it www.dev.zimmerpeacock.com. So we have the Developer Zone and we have the ZP Academy. So so the intention in 2020 is we've really put a nice baseline in now with the Developer Zone, especially through these weekly webinars. And now we want to really increase what we're doing in 2021. So new website and a new academy to go along with it. Now, when you look at the ZP Developer Zone, at the moment, we can talk through the Discord server, but the Developer Zone will allow us to have groups, so we can create different groups with different topics. You guys will be members, so therefore you'll be able to get into these groups. And we're also going to have forums, where we can sort of be discussing certain topics. Now, in 2021, we're really going to push out on membership as well and get more and more members so that we have more and more people having these conversations. But the new website allows us to have this group creation and these forum creations. And as long as you're members, then you can definitely get into that material. So as I say, the website for that is dev.zimmerpeacock.com, so dev.zimmerpeacock.com. Now on the Academy, we have 2 free courses. We have Module 1A, which is Introduction to Biosensors. So I think it's definitely worth you guys having a look at that. Share it with any students or colleagues that would be interested. And then actually, I think also Hasim, I saw Hasim was doing some training of his colleagues in Indonesia. So it's probably worth having them a look at electrochemical techniques for biosense developers. So that's a good one. It's quite a comprehensive, quite a technical one. And that's free to enroll as well. So it's probably worth having a look at that one. There's probably at least, I mean, on this one, there's 60 minutes worth of video. On this one, there's probably about 2 hours worth of video. And there's quizzes and there's it's an exam at the end of it. Nothing too hard, just to kind of, give you a sense of, did I understand this material as well? So it's definitely worth having a look at the ZP Academy. I just want to give an update also on FoodSense, because I know Hasim, sort of interact with the FoodSense a lot. There has been a nice piece of independent work done by Purdue University in the US, where they've, so the FoodSense, I'll just grab one now. I know you guys know it, but I'll just grab one. So a lot of what we do in the ZP Developer Zone is, we're trying to kind of build a zone of people or, who are interested in electrochemical biosensing. We always have our FoodSense technology, and it obviously takes these disposable sensors. And so what Purdue have done is they've taken the FoodSense, and they've been testing the whole chilies. And so they've actually come up with a really quite a nice methodology for taking a chili, blending it up, diluting it, adding that homogenized sample then to the chili pot buffer and testing it. And then they've done a correlation with HPLC. So they tested the FoodSense in triplicate, and then they also took a sample and sent it out to a lab for HPLC testing. And I think they were very satisfied actually with the correlation, because they know it's not easy to test real sort of samples where the samples like chilies can be quite heterogeneous. One chili is very different from another chili. I think they were actually quite satisfied with their results. So much so that they ended up, as I say, sort of publishing them. So that might be super useful, especially to people like Hasim. All right, so that was just a little bit of news from Zimmer and Peacock. So ZP Academy has gone live. That's academy.zimmerpeacock.com. There's a couple of free courses on there. I would definitely recommend you have a look at them, and they're useful for training colleagues and students. We've also done the ZP Developer Zone. That's dev.zimmerpeacock.com, where you guys can join. Well, you are already members, but just need you to formally come in and sort of sign up. And then you'll be able to get into the forums and the discussions. This is just a little bit of news from our side at Zimmer and Peacock. I'm speaking quite quickly today, and the reason being is we're in the middle of what's called an ISO 13485 audit. So at Zimmer and Peacock, we have a fairly large facility. Since Hasim visited us, it's doubled in size because we've taken over more floors in the building that we were in. And at the moment, we're going through ISO 13485 certification. So we have an auditor who's kind of looking at our documents and looking at our building and making sure that we are compatible with the ISO 13485 standard. And therefore, we will then be formally registered to be able to manufacture electrochemical sensors and in vitro diagnostics. So that's why I'm speaking quite quickly, because we have this audit and I'm meant to be in the audit. But of course, I always promise to come and, we always do this every Thursday at 8 a.m., so nothing's going to change that. Now I'm just going to I really want and I think we're doing it, I want the ZP Developer Zone to be useful and interesting to you guys as the members. And so I just want to talk about the detection of pesticides. I know that a few of you in the Developer Zone are kind of interested in agriculture. And so I just want to sort of mention on glyphosate, which apparently is quite a common herbicide used in palm oil plantations in Indonesia. And I just did a little bit of research on this just recently. And So I'm a chemist by training, so I always like to see the structure of molecules. But when I saw the structure of this molecule, it did strike me that this was potentially it was electrochemically active. And if it's electrochemically active, then we can probably do field tests on instruments like the FoodSense. So I did a little bit of research on this. And the lovely thing about electrochemistry is there's always plenty of papers. So if you did a quick search on glyphosate and electrochemical detection, then I was very quickly able to find evidence online. This is a particular paper that I found, and I read it, and they were varying the concentration of glyphosate, and they were using cyclovoltammetry, which is something that we've talked about a fair amount. So it kind of comes back to the point that, I think electrochemistry is a very powerful technique for doing sensing and analysis. And even when we're, challenged with a new molecule like glyphosate, you can then sort of immediately find some references to it. And when I read this paper, I felt there was a slight gap, really, because the paper they were using quite a laboratory setup. They weren't using screen-printed electrodes. And so for me, if you really want to make a kind of low-cost, rapid test for pesticides and herbicides, then using screen-printed electrodes is quite a good way of doing it. So in this particular paper, they've shown us that they can do it by electrochemistry, but they did it on carbon disc electrodes, which is really a sort of very laboratory, it's very good for the laboratory, but not very good for turning into products. So for me, it's like, we can use this paper, use the screen-printed electrodes, and, there's basically a new paper there then. And the difference with a new paper would be that you can argue that, this is a scalable product. I just want to put ResearchGate up there as well and say that this paper is available on ResearchGate. So I think just about all of us have an academic background, which means that we're also on ResearchGate. Hi, Dima. And therefore we can get hold of this paper for free. So Dima's just joined us. So I'm just going to do a quick run through, just a quick summary, Dima. It's going to be very quick. But I just want to say things that we've touched upon this week are, it's worth knowing that we've launched a new site called the ZP Academy. Please take a look at it. Take a look at the ZP Developer Zone. We're really increasing the functionality of this, what is ZP Developer Zone? It now allows us to have groups, members, and forums. And the Academy is basically an online e-learning center where you can do like introduction to biosensors. You can enroll in that. It's free. You can share it with colleagues. And also electrochemical techniques for biosensor developers. That's also free, and you can share that with colleagues as well. I did tell the guys that we've had an update. That somebody from Purdue University wrote a paper on FoodSense, and they did a comparison between FoodSense and HPLC. So it's definitely worth having a look at that. And then I think you came in, well, no, you didn't. We're also doing our ISO 13485 certification this week, so I'm talking a little bit fast. And then on the glyphosate side of things, like I say, glyphosate's interesting because it is a common herbicide in Indonesia. There is a good paper on electrochemical detection of glyphosate, which you can get off ResearchGate, but they didn't do it on screen-printed electrodes. And I think that's a real shame, because if you really want to make this technology usable in the real world, then I think it should be done on screen-printed electrodes. And we have discussed voltammetry quite a bit in the past, so I'm not going to discuss it. Yeah, there we are. Thank you, Issa. Yeah, we are good. I'm glad you're going to like this e-learning center. And I will be looking for some feedback from you guys as well about what courses we should be doing on the e-learning center. And it's worth saying that if you do the module on electrochemical techniques for biosensor developers, then it will help you understand that paper a little bit better as well, because the signal there is, again, cyclovoltammetry. And we do talk about cyclovoltammetry quite a bit in the ZP Developer Zone. And also, Hasim is online with us. Hasim has used a slightly different technique called differential pulse voltammetry, DPV, and he's probably touched upon square wave voltammetry in his career as well. So even though they use cyclovoltammetry in this paper, I think that there's a new academic, and at least a paper can be done on using screen printed electrodes. And then I would actually argue possibly doing differential pulse voltammetry and square wave voltammetry instead to probably improve the sensitivity. So I think there's some improvements that can be done. And I like this paper because I think Hasim was telling me that Indonesia is the world's largest producer of palm oil, if not, and they are using this herbicide, glyphosate, quite a bit, I believe in that. So there is going to be, unfortunately, a need to be testing for this, making sure that it doesn't get into the, basically into the water would be one of the sort of dangers to human health. And when I look at this paper, the signal is very strong, where they have just water here, and then when they add the glyphosate in, you get a very different signal, so intense signal. So as I say, I'm going a little quicker today. We're in this ISO 13485 audit, so I have to join my colleagues to be part of that audit today. But I'll just do a little summary. So we have launched the ZP Academy, academy.zimmerpigot.com. Good. Thank you. I'm just reading some of the comments. I appreciate the comments, guys. The Developer Zone, we will start getting you guys to sign up to this new Developer Zone website. It will definitely be free to you guys because you guys are already the members, probably the half of what this. If you do sign up to the Academy, then you can enroll on these training courses. And there's a sort of definitely a kind of a reminder to Hasim that you have been training some people in Indonesia. So this might help with your training as well, or your training of colleagues. We are, with the new Developer Zone, we're going to be able to have groups and forums. So I'm really looking forward to that. And then just that, the technical section this week was on glyphosate. Glyphosate is a herbicide. It's used in palm oil production in Indonesia. And I think that there's really going to be a, probably from the government or from government agencies, they'll start looking for sensors for herbicides and pesticides. And so the paper that we cover today is probably worth a read through to now. So I'm gonna sign off in a minute or so. I do appreciate, a really good turnout again this week. I do appreciate it. I will start asking Hasim to ask you guys to start signing up to the new Developer Zone. So slowly we'll start to put more and more material onto there. And eventually you'll be able to access these weekly webinars through the ZP Developer Zone as well. So I hope that's okay for this week. We will definitely be doing this again next week at 8 a.m. London time. Like I said, it's lovely the way you guys always turn up every week. We have this chat. We try to make it technical. I try to give you an update from my side. Hasim and the guys, if you want me to talk about particular topics, then I will do. I was happy with this week's topic. Like I said, I like it to keep it relevant. And, if we can talk about, herbicides in agriculture and how we can detect those, then, that's the kind of thing that I think is cool. All right, I'm going to make a move now. But thank you very much. And definitely speak to you next week. All right. Thanks very much. Cheers, guys.